Relics left behind by ancient humans can be anything from luxurious to odd. Some tombs contain things that made us completely rethink our place in history. They invite us to ask questions about the past. What were people's beliefs? How were they different to us? Or maybe even, how were they the same? And most importantly, what do you think you'd like buried with you? Welcome to Crazy Histories, where we bring you the craziest and weirdest facts from human history. Some of the things discussed in this video may be offensive or disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. Egyptians and their oddities. A lot of what we know about ancient Egypt comes from what archaeologists learned through studying tombs that have been dug up. The ancient Egyptians believed that life didn't stop when you died. Instead, death was more like a temporary stop on your way to another place, a place they named the afterlife. During the Old Kingdom, however, only pharaohs could hope to move onto the world of the afterlife, so they buried themselves with riches. These tombs provide us with invaluable information about the lives of the ancient Egyptians. Of the many things found was a full ship. Egyptian pharaohs believed they needed to sail to the afterlife, so of course some had boats buried with them. In particular, the Old Kingdom pharaoh Khufu, buried in the Great Pyramid at Giza, had his burial excavated only for archaeologists to find more than 1,000 pieces of a giant boat buried with the pharaoh. Today, they've reassembled the ship, which is now on display in Egypt. It's 144 feet long, made mostly of cedar, and doesn't contain a single nail. Instead, it's put together using techniques that would put modern engineers to shame. The boat would have been built at the height of the 12th dynasty, when Egypt sent military campaigns to both the Levant in the north and countries in the south, making them very wealthy. An archaeologist named Kamal el-Malakh, who was one of Egypt's most renowned archaeologists, discovered Khufu's ship in 1954 in a closed pit near the Great Pyramid, the oldest and largest pyramid in Giza. The vessel had almost completely fallen apart by the time el-Malakh found it, but the wood remained well preserved because it had been tightly sealed in a 171-foot chamber. An ancient romance uncovered. That was not the only thing found in an ancient Egyptian tomb. In 2013, a 4,000-year-old tomb was discovered in Saqqara, and inside, the beautiful story of an Egyptian romance was found drawn on the walls. They showed what seemed to be drawings of Meretritis, a priestess, and Kahai, a singer. The tomb is one of the few ever found from the Pyramid Age that shows romantic affection, such as in one scene where the couple is gazing into each other's eyes, rather than standard images of married couples most often found from the time period. The tomb also contained the remains of the lovers drawn on the walls, as well as their children and possibly grandchildren, showing that they were an especially close family. Could you imagine being buried with your entire family like that? People were buried with their families. They weren't the only family who insisted on being together. The pharaoh Tutankhamun ruled ancient Egypt during the 18th dynasty of the New Kingdom, which was one of the most powerful royal houses in ancient Egypt. Although he only ruled for 9 years and died at the young age of 19, he's one of the most well-known pharaohs, mostly to the discovery of his intact tomb by archaeologist Howard Carter in 1922. The tomb was full of riches that suited a king, including an elaborate sarcophagus with a gold burial mask and numerous statues of ancient Egyptian gods, as well as gold jewelry, statues, and images of servants, ornate furniture, models of boats, and other items that they all believed the pharaoh would need in the afterlife. A lesser-known item discovered in his tomb was an undecorated wooden box in which 2 small coffins lay side by side. These coffins held the mummified remains of King Tutankhamun's 2 stillborn daughters. Researchers believe these fetuses were likely the result of a miscarriage. Other mummified ancient Egyptian fetuses have been discovered, but they have been older. 2 mummified fetuses, around 25 to 37 weeks old, were found in individual coffins within King Tut's tomb. They were his own biological children, possibly stillborn twins that his wife, Queen Ankhesenamun, gave birth to. One fetus was aged 5 months and the other between 7 and 9 months. Fun things have been found too. Pharaohs needed to have fun after death, so they stocked up on board games in their tombs. One really popular one was Senet, which is translated as passing. It was sort of an ancient version of Parcheesi. People used to play them on many squared boards. If you were rich, the boards might be made out of fancy materials like ivory. Fun. Game boxes and scenes of Senet are found in a number of tombs. Queen Nefertari is shown playing this game on the wall of her tomb, and King Tutankhamun was buried with around 5 game boxes. Because the ancient Egyptians believed in an afterlife, they also believed that when a person died, they had to perform certain rituals and pass several obstacles to reach the afterlife. In the New Kingdom, the game Senet, which means passing, became associated with the journey to the afterlife. Some of the squares of the game showed the hazard a person might meet on their journey to the afterlife, while other squares helped the players. Because of this connection, Senet was not just a game, it was also a symbol for the struggle to obtain immortality or endless life. It wasn't just the Egyptians. In March 1974, a group of workers digging a well in the Chinese province of Shaanxi unearthed fragments of a clay figure, which would then turn out to be one of the greatest archaeological discoveries of modern times. Near the undug tomb of Qin Shi Huangdi, who had proclaimed himself first emperor of China in 221 BC, there was an extraordinary underground discovery. An entire army of life-size terracotta soldiers and horses, buried and unfound for more than 2,000 years. The statues are about 175 to 190 centimeters tall. Each one is completely different in terms of gestures and facial expressions, some even with color showing. It reveals a lot about the Qin Empire's technology, military, arts, and culture. It was made to be an afterlife army for Emperor Qin. It was believed that objects like statues can be animated in the afterlife, and so they were buried with him for protection. Since the discovery of the terracotta army, more than 8,000 soldiers and 670 horses have been uncovered. There have also been terracotta musicians, acrobats, and concubines found in recent pits, as well as some birds like cranes and ducks. It's believed that Emperor Qin wanted exactly the same grand services and treatment for his afterlife that he received in life. Thousands of years later, the soldiers are still standing and show an extraordinary level of craftsmanship and artistry from thousands of years ago. A truly surprising discovery. Every year, thousands of visitors crowd into the ancient Maya city of Chichen Itza, found in Mexico. The ancient Maya constructed hundreds of pyramids throughout Mesoamerica, from about 1000 BC to AD 1500, placing a wide range of artifacts inside them. But what exactly did they put inside of them? It turns out that, just like the pyramids of Egypt, those built by the Maya contained treasures and burials. But they also often contained something weirder. Smaller pyramids were put inside the larger ones. One example is the Pyramid of El Castillo at the site of Chichen Itza, which contains a pyramid within a pyramid within a pyramid, like a Russian doll. Earlier excavations in the 1930s had already revealed another smaller pyramid inside the larger one, which contained a red jaguar throne studded with jade. Archaeologists then found another pyramid 10 meters tall inside the other two. The pyramid is where they believed, according to legend, Kukulkan, the feathered serpent god, alights from the heavens, blesses his worshippers on earth, and then makes his way to the underworld, or Xibalba. With its beautiful symmetry, stepped platforms, and a crowning temple, El Castillo is one of the most recognizable Mesoamerican pyramids. Priests used to ascend one of the 4 staircases to reach the temple, so the pyramid was never meant to be entered and was hidden inside the tomb for reasons we may never know. One reason could have been for sacrifices, since something called chakmul was found inside the smaller pyramid. The chakmul is a sort of Maya design of a divine male figure leaning back and holding a bowl, which could have been used as a repository for sacrifices. If you enjoyed this video about that most bizarre ancient things inside tombs, click the like and subscribe buttons for more Crazy History stories, where we bring you the craziest and weirdest facts from human history.